Hi Aquarius, and happy birthday. You guys get to go first since it's your birthday month. So thanks for joining, and while I shuffle, please set aside anything you're doing so you're not multitasking. All of your attention is here with me for the reading so we can get the most out of our time together. Settle into a comfortable posture and focus on your breath for a few moments. Each time you exhale, release any tension or anxiety that you might be feeling. Check in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to reach out to my higher self and my guides so that we can create a feedback loop to get really clear and relevant messages that are especially tailored for you. Whoa. Okay, Aquarius, there's some really big energy cards here in the reading for you for this month. So I'll go right in and just start talking about what my first impressions were as the cards were going down. It feels to me like there's something happening this month where there's some major transitions occurring for you, in which it may feel like some kind of turn of events has happened that might have felt like they weren't fair. However, and being that they felt unfair, there is some emotional fallout with that. You have these 2 5s here at the top of the reading in the upright position. So these energies are kind of feeling like you feel like something unjust, unfair happened. You have the Justice card in reverse at the center of the reading. That's leaving you feeling like disappointed, and I'm hearing hopeless, and feeling also sad. It's a sadness. There's this energy of sadness in the cards, but what's here in the foundation of the reading, in the area of the spread that talks about what you don't know, what you cannot see, is that this transition or this kind of movement of energy that's happening for you, that might have already happened for some of you, is something that is actually bringing you to a place where you are going to eventually, if not right away, feel a lot more stability. You will feel a lot more contentedness, is what I heard, and you will feel a lot more confident and stable. There's a consolidation happening here. So let's go in a little bit further. That was just kind of my first impression. Now, I mentioned that you have 2 5s here at the top of the reading in the upright position. You also have 2 10s in the reading, and they're both in reverse, and they're on this half of the reading. I feel that for some of you, what I'm sensing is that for some of you, and obviously this is a general reading, so it's going to be different for everybody, but for some of you, you may have had a falling out with somebody who you considered very close to you, not necessarily a blood relative, but someone that you had a very close bond with, that felt like family, felt like your chosen family. It may have even been an employer. For some of you, you may have been working with someone that you felt really close with, and perhaps there was some kind of falling out or separating of ways going on where you feel like that just wasn't fair, that wasn't right, that wasn't fair. You feel maybe totally disappointed and sad. I'm hearing regret for some of you as well. This 10 of Cups in reverse here with the Knight of Rods in reverse. It's almost like someone's kind of what's the word? Smothered your enthusiasm. I'm seeing the image of like a little fire burning, and someone's just like kicked dirt onto it or dumped like water onto it, so that it's like kind of smothered the fire. And that's what it feels like. That here there's some kind of energy around someone's action. And of course, this could be in the reverse position, right? With these readings, it could go either way. Take it as it's relevant for you. But one thing that's really important with these readings is that you don't misuse what I'm saying, and don't make it mean something that it's not to suit the story that you're telling yourself. This is about raw honesty here. So just to get back here, so some of you may feel like someone's behavior or actions or words or opinion or attitude towards you even has been somewhat of a that's so funny. I don't know if I can say this or not, but it's like your dick went soft, basically. So it's kind of like killing the fire. There's someone's activity or words or attitude towards you has kind of like made you kind of lose interest, or made you feel kind of in some ways maybe weakened, or in other ways disappointed, or in other ways maybe let me try to find the right word here. I'm hearing dismantled. So for some of you, this energy that we're talking about here may feel like it's kind of like parts of your life are kind of coming apart, or coming away from like what you thought was a pretty stable or core environment or center or situation that you've been in. So all that energy I was kind of reading from this quadrant here with the Ten of Cups in reverse and the Knight of Rods in reverse, which I'm reading as your energy in this spread. Well, one of them. You're indicated here in many different places in the reading, but this one here is feeling like some type of action by someone else has caused you to feel a disappointment, where you feel like a disconnection or a dismantling of what you felt was something secure and solid and safe and tried and true. And it's kind of put out some of your fire. It's made you feel like a loss of enthusiasm, or a loss of excitement, maybe even a loss of happiness in some ways for some of you. However, there's a lot of other cards here that are really speaking very positively towards indicating that what's happening here is actually a very beneficial energy for you, in that there is some type of, first of all, you have the Emperor at the foundation in the upright position. And this is also your energy that I'm reading. Even though I said this Knight of Rods is your energy, this Emperor at the foundation is it's a very important card. It's a very stable energy. It's a very established kind of energy. So what I'm feeling here, and this card is reading the energy that's coming from your unconscious mind, which is what you don't know. So how I'm interpreting this, given the other cards in the reading in context, is that this shift that's happened. And you've got the Wheel of Fortune here in the position of coming into the reading. So this card and the Emperor card and the Death card here as well. I haven't touched on that yet. But these three cards here are all saying to me that even though what it looks like on the surface is some type of loss or disappointment or sadness, or for some of you it may even feel like a betrayal, it's actually bringing you into a much better alignment for yourself, where you are kind of, and the Wheel of Fortune in the upright position is clearly saying that this is a change for the better. It's a change for the better. This is a benefic energy. This is ruled by Jupiter. This is something fortunate. I don't want to use the word luck because I don't believe in luck, but I feel that this energy is a shift that's been generated by your own. You instigated this, even though it's playing out in a certain way where it looks like you may have been the victim of someone else's bad attitude or bad behavior. This is more about energy that you established, something from some ideas, concepts, or feelings, or sensations, or wishes, or, you get what I'm saying? That you have, but that you initiated some time back, that has actually created this situation and catalyzed the energy because you willed it into being. That's the point I'm saying here. You willed this situation into being. So you're not a victim of anything. This is something that you wanted, that you needed, and it's causing a transition and a transformation. And it's an alchemical process where you are, maybe it feels uncomfortable right now because perhaps what you invoked was something so futuristic that it happening now is kind of shocking to you because you may not be emotionally ready for it. But actually what it says here is that you totally are. You just need to pick yourself up and overcome this feeling of loss and disappointment, and feeling maybe betrayed, or feeling like, you know, someone dissed you, because that's what it feels like. That's what I was trying to explain earlier with the fire metaphor, is that you feel like someone has dissed you, but actually you wanted this change and this shift, and maybe you didn't necessarily see it playing out in this particular way. Of course not, because you wouldn't have necessarily done this willfully. But it is something that you can actually turn into something that is to your advantage and to your benefit by just changing the way you look at it, just changing your perspective, changing your attitude, changing just looking at it from a different angle. Looking at this thing from a different angle is going to help you change completely the way you feel about it. And in doing so, you can turn this into something that is actually of huge advantage to you. Because you have here at the center of the reading this Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups as the crossing card is saying to me that this opportunity, while it may feel awkward and uncomfortable, and you might actually be feeling, some of you might be feeling really fucking pissed off. This is a huge potential opportunity for a massive uprising of unconditional love. And just, I'm hearing sharing also. But basically what I'm seeing here is that this is something that you have generated by your own will and your thoughts and ideas and concepts that you've been kind of having for some time, a few months. And it has caused this catalyzation of energy to move you into a sphere of influence which is different than the one that you've been in. Bottom of the deck, you have the Six of Wands. So again, this is another affirming card that's saying that this is something that, while on the outside it may look like not cool, you're actually able to walk away from this situation victorious with your head held high and feeling very confident and successful. And the Three of Swords here as well is also saying that there is a release here. It's a release. I feel like whatever it is that you're moving away from, whatever this energy is that felt like unfair or some kind of catalyzation, and some of you may have actually been even dealing with a legal matter, could also be confirmed there by the Emperor, and even with the Death and the King of Wands there. There is the capacity here, and these two cards kind of go together. The Ace of Cups upright with the Three of Swords in reverse are kind of like, it's kind of like a forgiveness energy, it's a release energy, it's a I'm hearing abundance, but it's something about like the freedom that you get when you actually just absolve and just a second. I'm hearing remedy also. I guess it's almost like the Ace of Cups is an antidote as well to that Three of Swords energy. But the Three of Swords in this situation, I don't read the Three of Swords ever as necessarily a negative card, but especially when it comes up in reverse, it's a card of forgiveness, it's a card of releasing and letting go. So that's what I feel is here, is like you're actually moving out of a situation that was not quite right for you. Even if there was some difficulty around it, even if you were dealing with a legal matter and some kind of like outcome that feels like it's playing against you, it's just about how you look at it. It's really just about how you look at it. And then here you have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse with the Nine of Swords. What does that mean? I'm getting that for some of you, that whatever that was, that commitment was too binding for you. It was too limiting and restricting and in an unhealthy way where it caused anxiety and stress for you. So this is a type of liberation that was well needed, that is giving you a sense of, as I said, release and hope. I'm hearing as well now. Hope, confidence, and liberation. What I pretty much talked about everything in the card except for a couple of cards here. Now you have a few court cards here, as well as these major arcana. So let me just go over those again. So you have the Wheel of Fortune, Justice in reverse, the Emperor, and the Death card here in 4 major arcanas. And then for court cards, you have the Queen of Swords in the outcome position. You have the Knight of Rods in the reverse with the Death card. And you have Page of Cups in reverse with this 5 of Swords energy in the Hopes and Fears quadrant. So what I feel, and I kind of touched on all this already, but I'll just go over it for those of you who want to actually have context with what the cards actually refer to. I feel that this 5 of Swords card, it could refer again to this, if it was a legal issue, if there was some kind of like court situation or some kind of environment where you had mediation or some kind of like authorities involved. Maybe that's the Emperor as well, and referring to that. If there was arguing, I feel like this Page of Cups in reverse is saying that the arguments are over now. There's no more debating. There's no more heated conversations. There's no more arguing. There's no more fighting. There's no more bickering, because the offer is just not on the table anymore. Even if this wasn't actually like outwardly arguing and aggressive fighting, if this was like quiet tension, could have been as well. It's over now, because the offer is just not there. The offer is off the table. It's over. There's clarity here around ending. It's like moving on from. Some of you, this clearly could be a family separation here with this both the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles in reverse here. For some of you, this could be the end of a marriage or a partnership of some kind. For some of you, this is very clearly the end of a job, you know. You may have been fired from a job, or you might have resigned under difficult circumstances. Either way, I feel like even though it's uncomfortable and there's some disappointment and sadness there, it's definitely a beneficial move. It's a beneficial transition. And finally, this Queen of Swords in the outcome position here. I feel that she is lending this energy of truth, of clarity, of kind of quiet. Even though there's a little bit of stoicism here with this energy, it's an energy where, like, how would I say that? Truth is more important. The truth is the most important thing here, right? And the truth is that you weren't really stoked on the situation that you're in. So even though it's painful and uncomfortable, maybe someone, as I said, behaved a certain way or said something or did something that made you feel disrespected or unseen or unappreciated or whatever. This is a movement that is something you invoked quite some time ago, and even though it's playing out in a way that may have felt like it was so sudden and unexpected, it is a feeling coming away from it where you are kind of walking away with your head held high. There is this feeling here of no hard feelings. That's what this Three of Swords is, I'm seeing. You coming away from the situation on the with the Six of Wands here, kind of riding off with your head held high, with a sense of accomplishment and confidence. And with this Three of Swords here, I'm feeling that it's an energy of, again, forgiveness, absolution, and resolve, a type of release and letting go where there's no hard feelings. There's no hard feelings. That's a really important catchphrase. No hard feelings there. And again, to recover here and just recap on these two cards here, the Knight of Pentacles reversed with the Knight of Swords was kind of, for me, an affirmation that whatever that situation was, if it was a commitment of some kind, whether it was a job or a relationship of some kind, it wasn't working for you. You felt too bound and restricted in it. You felt too controlled by it. You felt too limited and unable to communicate or express yourself in the way that you feel like you need to. So it's better for you to be outside of that dynamic. Let me just check. Okay, so the one card I didn't really touch on specifically is this Four of Pentacles upright in the center of the reading in the crowning card. This is the card of what you know. So what this is kind of saying as the crowning card is the overreaching card that's sort of capping the reading here. This is saying that this is a time for you to recoil your energy back into yourself and consolidate yourself, consolidate your resources, consolidate your energy, and just establish a new foundation. Look, the Emperor here at the foundation is number 4, and then the Four of Pentacles as well. It's kind of pressing the same point, which is that this is the time for you to re-establish yourself as an individual entity and coming into a new sense of your own authority, of your own capacity to be, do, create, manifest, whatever, and use this moment to recap and consolidate your resources and to re-establish yourself as a unique and individual entity. Okay, Aquarius, I feel that that's it for the general reading. Let me see what this card is. Wow, nice one. So at the top of the deck you have Magician. Nice way to close this reading out. More affirmation. Another major arcana card here. This is saying to me that this is very powerful. You are actually very empowered in this situation. This is a very empowering situation. This is a very empowering time for you. And it's a moment for you to just, again, as I said, check your resources, re-establish yourself as a unique, independent individual. And moving forward from here, make clear and intentional decisions about how you're going to channel your energy from here into new manifestations of a new future, based on the new that you are discovering through this specific situation. So I guess what it's saying here is let this situation be a vehicle for you to discover more of who you are and more of your innate strengths and qualities that you can then use now to channel forward into the next endeavor. Okay, that was the general reading, Aquarius. We're going to take the Voyager deck now and shuffle again to do your higher octave reading. The higher octave reading is designed to give a little bit more insight on what's happening on a karmic and a spiritual level, to help us understand best how to work with the energies that we're dealing with, to understand perhaps why we're in the situation that we're in, so that we can feel empowered and, as I said, move with clarity, with grace, with dignity, to make the most out of the situation that we're in. So while I'm shuffling, again, center yourself, come back into a comfortable posture, center your breathing, and blast that deck with your energy so that I can get really clear messages for you. The Devil reversed, crossed by the Six of Wands. You had the Six of Wands there, right? Woman of Crystals reversed, Ace of Crystals upright, Four of Crystals reversed, Man of Cups reversed, the Star reversed, Ten of Cups reversed, again, Nine of Worlds upright. Balance in this deck is known as, refers to the Justice card from the Rider Waite deck. So you have a Justice again here, and it is also reversed in this deck, in this reading. Here we have Eight of Cups reversed, Ace of Cups reversed, Eight of Worlds reversed, and Ace of Wands. So quite a few reversals here, but never you mind. It's not necessarily a negative thing at all here. So you have three aces right off the bat, three aces in the reading. So the three aces here in the reading are giving a sense of the energy that's moving and transmuting and shifting you into what has the potential to be a new beginning. It's important to remember with the aces that it doesn't necessarily mean you will have a new beginning. It means you have the potential to have a new beginning. It's up to you to work with that energy to actually do something with it. Now, as I said, three aces. Now you have the Ace of Cups here coming out in reverse in the position of your hopes and fears. And as you remember from the first reading, you had the Ace of Cups there as your crossing card. So how I'm seeing this as in your hopes and fears is that it's almost as if you know what your potential is, you know what your challenge is, which is to rise up in unconditional love and work with the energy of forgiveness and absolution and release. And seeing it here in the position of your hopes and fears means perhaps that you may be a little bit concerned or worried that you may not actually be able to achieve that. And you have it here with the Nine of Worlds in this position in this deck. It's called Harvest. The Nine of Worlds, which is obviously the Nine of Pentacles, is the card of, well, it's a card about self-confidence really and self-worth. And seeing it here in this position and in this reading, it has a slightly different meaning in this deck, I will say. Like the Harvest is saying to me that you're in the position of your hopes and fears. You have the potential to see this as a very hopeful and beneficial energy of a completion of something. But perhaps you're afraid that you won't actually be able to make that transition if you can't actually work with the energy of forgiveness and unconditional love to help break through and release whatever it is that's there that may be residual, which might actually keep you held up in some kind of drama or some kind of unhealthy kind of pattern with somebody. And that energy is confirmed here as well with the Four of Crystals in the position of the recent past. This is the energy you're coming into the reading with. And at the center of the reading you have the Devil's Play in reverse, crossed by the Six of Wands, which is called Trust in this deck. So you had Six of Wands here in the previous reading, in the extended cards. Again, slightly different meaning in this deck, but something similar there as well for sure. In this deck, it's called Trust, as I said. So how I'm feeling this is that, as I said, there's that energy of you needing to see this as a resolution, as a completion, as a kind of totality of a cycle closing and finishing and completing, and for you to be able to walk away with that sense of totally resolved and absolved and forgiveness and release, there needs to be that open-hearted, unconditional love pouring into the situation, into the people involved, so that you can have that clarity moving forward and there's no residual coming through that may keep you locked in the same kind of engaging with people, or even with the same people. Now the Four of Crystals here is giving me this feeling of like, I'm hearing incompletion. I do feel like with this card there is this energy of here, like it kind of could be stuck. Again, it's a 4, right? You had 4 in the previous reading a couple of times with the Emperor at the foundation and the 4 of Pentacles at the crowning card. I feel here in this position and in this reading, this is kind of a little bit of a I don't want to say warning, but there's an indication here that if you really want to move forward and make the most out of this situation that you're in, and to come through it with like the greatest possible like achievement of the potential that's available to you, you do have to really stringently scour through the mind and through the emotional body to make sure that you are not bringing forward any unresolved resentment, any type of like resistance to change in this moving forward, so that you can actually come away from this without any kind of binding energy moving forward with you, in order to sort of get some freedom from some of the patterns and conditionings that have been playing out. Okay? Now the crossing card here, 6 of Wands, called Trust in this deck. That's giving me this indication here that the challenge for you, or the lesson for you, or the opportunity for you to really maximize the potential here and the opportunities available is to really strive not only to work with like clarifying the mind to make sure that you're actually, first of all, seeing the situation really for what it is, that you're not victimizing yourself, and that you're also not like holding any baggage of resentment or what's the word? Resentment, or just, I guess, self-limitation, because there is this energy here of like a holding pattern of like keeping you stuck in old ways of thinking, because you aren't able to change the way you think about a situation, or you're not able to change the way you actually view the situation that has occurred in order to see it for what it really is, which is actually a type of liberation, a type of like awakening, like a shake-up of your tried and true methods that have actually been maybe not as satisfying as they could be if you actually did things differently, or looked at things differently, or thought differently, or behaved differently, it spoke differently. Okay, now coming back to this card here, as I was saying, the Trust card, the 6 of Wands as the crossing card, is saying to me that in order for you to really come through this whole scenario with the greatest possible outcome, or for to get the most out of it, to maximize the potential of the situation, it's really important that you not only address the way you're seeing it, but also maintain a space of trust in life and in the universe. That because what it feels like right now is that actually right now at the moment it doesn't look cute, it's not pretty, it's not like easy for sure. You may feel confused, you may feel small, you may feel diminished, you may feel beaten down. You know, there's a lot of feelings here, there's a lot of energy of certain types of emotions that I didn't really touch on in the previous reading because it wasn't really that evident at first. But this spread is giving me a lot more energy of what's happening below the surface and in your emotional body. And I'm feeling a lot of pain here. There's a lot of stress around, like, I'm hearing, why does this happen to me? Or why is this happening again? Like, why am I in this situation again? Right? There is this feeling of unfair, of like you may have been like in this situation before where you were not treated so well by somebody else. But this, as I said, this is like a shake-up of you learning. You're being shown by the universe that you really need to address your perspective, not just on yourself and your situation, but on life in general. This is a total makeover, I feel. And there is these 2 8s here in these diagonal axis across the reading here. And it's you have the 8 of Cups in reverse with the 8 of Wands in reverse. So I feel that these cards here are suggesting that there is a kind of, I'm hearing role play. You know, maybe for some of you, you are kind of like, you're a little bit typecast in your own script, let's say. You know, maybe you've been playing out certain types of character and you're maybe a bit over it and you want to recast yourself. There is a need for change here. Ultimately, that's what this is all about. There's a massive need for change here on a fundamental level about the way not only you see the world, but the way you see yourself in it. It's about the way you see yourself in the world. And I remember from last month's reading, actually, there was a lot there about how You may be like victimized in certain ways, and you may feel like you've been mistreated by people, but I remember it being about you putting yourself in that position where people can take advantage of you. And I feel like that's what some of this is here. Is like maybe something's come to a head. Maybe last month's reading has come to a head, and you have actually been in a situation where you feel like disrespected, as I said earlier, and feels unfair. So it's a shake-up for you. This is a light bulb moment opportunity for you to really have a revelation around how you see yourself and the position that you put yourself in, and the way people treat you based on how your energy is established in a specific way that allows people to treat you as such. Now, again, I talked on the Ace of Cups there. You have two other aces here. You have the Ace of Crystals at the foundation and the Ace of Wands here in this position with the Star in reverse, which is your own card. You have the Star here. I like the Star in this deck. It's really beautiful. There's a statue of Kuan Yin there. I don't know if you can see this. There we go. Let's see it upright. There's Kuan Yin there and a lot of like crystalline energy. So she's coming out here reverse here with the Ace of Wands. So now Ace of Crystals at the foundation and Ace of Wands here. I feel that, as I said, there is the potential here for you to have a revelation. There's an opportunity for you to see things in a totally different way. To see yourself in a totally different way. To change the way you interact with life, because you've had some fundamental wake-up moments about who you are and your place in the world, and you're changing the way you see yourself in the world, and that's a really powerful and beautiful thing. And there may be a little bit of an awkward, uncomfortable moment where there is this sort of re-establishment of yourself, and that's what we had there with the Emperor in the previous reading and the Four of Pentacles as the crowning card. There is this need for re-establishing your energy as your own authority, as an independent, unique being. And yeah, you had in the previous reading the Queen of Swords in the upright in the outcome position, and you have the Queen of Crystals in this reading as the crowning card, but this time in reverse. Hopefully you can see that without the reflection. So again, the Queen of Swords is kind of an Aquarian energy. Has the air element there. And as I said in the previous reading, truth is the most important thing. I kind of am going all over the place here, but that's how it goes sometimes. So Star and Ace of Wands, Ace of Crystals, and Woman of Crystals, reverse. I feel that this is speaking clearly to you having, as I said, a wake-up moment, a moment of clarity, a revelation about something truth to you, something that's true to you. And this is about your capacity to embody it, to embody this understanding in a way that you are, again, re-establishing your crystalline energy into the grid in a way that changes the way people treat you and view you, because you feel differently and think differently about yourself. Ten of Cups here in reverse with the Eight of Worlds. You had the Ten of Cups in the previous reading, as I mentioned, in reverse also. As I said, for some of you, there could have been some kind of like upheaval in either your work life or your home life. As I said, I'm seeing this here with these two eights as well. Two tens in the previous reading and now two eights here. This is a moment of understanding, and a huge need to change has been pending for some time, and right now it's totally imminent and it's happening. And again, this is about you re-establishing your perspective on who you are and your position in life in general, and recalibrating your frequency to the new energy that you want to embody. And in doing it in such a way that it's tangible and evident to other people, so that you get the treatment that you want from people, not the way that you have felt like on the back foot in the past. I hope this is making sense. Now finally, you have in the outcome position here the Man of Cups, which I really like to see here, and it's in the upright position. This is saying to me that you are moving into a space here where, and you know, Queen of Swords in the previous reading and then Man of Cups in this reading, both upright. These are saying to me that you're getting clarity of mind and clarity in your emotions as well, and that you're learning to embody a more stable and clear channel of your emotional energy in a way that is much more about you feeling empowered, about you putting your emotional well-being as your priority rather than trying to please others. That's what I feel was I think a lot of what the other reading was about, and even last month's reading too, with regard to like feeling like people take advantage of you in a certain way. It's almost as if you prioritize other people's emotional well-being in a way that people think that their emotional well-being may be more important than yours. But I think you're starting to understand that it's you first. It's always been you first, and it has to be you first. But obviously, in a way, I mean, some of you might feel like, some of you might have a little bit of like, let me try to figure out how to say this. I'm getting this feeling of like practice makes perfect, right? Practice makes perfect, with that kind of embodying of like your own sense of well-being being your priority. And you might find that in this practicing moment of it, before you really get it right, you might have some awkward moments where like things don't quite... It's really hard to get the words to describe this energy. Let me try to find it. The important thing is that you do start to practice it. But what I'm trying to say here, and what I'm feeling, is that some of you might kind of swing too far in the other extreme with this, and it might come off a little bit as arrogant, and might rub people the wrong way. Because in the past, I feel like you've been too humble in a way that's kind of like, as I said, put you in this position where people can take advantage of you. Now maybe you're coming to this sense of empowerment and realizing that you have been having those kind of interactions with people because you have been sustaining a certain kind of energy where you are very kind and you are very polite and you are very caring, and maybe people take that in the wrong ways to think that their needs are more important than yours, and you might now see this and understand it and have a realization about that, and you might practice it by taking it too far in the other extreme. So this is just a little bit of a warning to be aware about that, and just take it easy, take it slowly. Don't overshoot this energy and take it too far. But do start to put it into practice for sure. All right, I feel like that's it for the first part of the reading. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. 7 of Cups reversed. Time space, which is judgment, and it's upright here. So that's that revelation I was talking about. 9 of Wands upright and the Hermit reversed. Interesting. And there's the Emperor. I'm going to take that too. He's reversed here. So what's here, I feel, is... Again, this is it's not an easy time. For some of you, this may not be an easy time. As I said, there could be some emotional turbulence. There could be some actual like upsetting of energy and turbulence in your actual, like, your world, your physical world. You might change your job. You might find that your home life is unsettled or disrupted, or there may be separation. There's definitely changes going on, and it's going to play out differently for all of you. However, the Judgment card is saying to me that, again, this is a moment of revelation, and I've already spoken on this already, so this is kind of just an indication that the guides are working very well. So this is a moment of a clarity, of a revelation, but it's a kind of raw and vulnerable moment of realizing the truth, and you having to kind of step forward with this vulnerability and this nakedness in order to transition and make these changes and actually embody them and physically manifest this new energy of new understanding of who you really are, beyond all of this kind of emotional care for other people. It's not that you don't care for people anymore, it's just that you understand, like, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? Now, 9 of Wands here, upright, with the Hermit, which is also the 9. So 2 9s here, 1 upright, 1 in reverse. What I feel is here is the 9 of Wands, and this deck is called Integrity. So I'm feeling like there's this kind of Saturnian influence here where, like, there is some kind of like control, not control, what's the word? Like Saturn is from, like, classically like an influence that's kind of disciplinarian and fatherly and a bit rigid and controlled and limitations and stuff. But without that kind of support and limitation and guidance and discipline, you can't really grow. You can't get anywhere. So this is kind of saying to me that this may be a hard, difficult lesson and might be a tough time and tough moment for you, but it's incredibly beneficial, and it's establishing you with a new sense of like the spine, right? Saturn is kind of like, you can see in this image, I don't know if you can see that there, but there's right here, there's a spine. Saturn, one of the parts that Saturn governs is the spine. If you don't have a good spine, or good like spinal posture, then you're in pain and your body's weak, right? So it's those limitations and those disciplines and those kind of tough lessons that make us who we are, that strengthen us, that make us greater, make us closer to reaching our potential, because we're kind of working with discipline and strength and courage and yeah. And the Hermit here in reverse, I feel like, I think this is kind of indicating that this may be a time for you to kind of come out more, like come out of your introverted nature and just like have a little bit more moment to be like outside in the world, be a little bit more interactive with people, and just like show up more, just like showing up a little bit more and being more around and being like engaging with people with this like ever so slight recalibration of your energy, kind of giving impressions of a new you, giving an impression of your of you having understood something and now, sort of as I said earlier, starting to practice it in the outside world with other people, not just like have it be something that is yours internally that you've understood. Okay? And I did take the Emperor here as well, just as a final message and reminder to say that this is a very empowering situation. Of course, it's very challenging, but it's a time for you to really understand that like the universe is bringing you lessons and guiding you in ways that you've embodied, that you've invoked yourself quite maybe some time back. This is something that you are ready for and that you're capable of handling, and it's forming you. This is a formative time. This is a formative time of like embodying qualities that are actually already in you, but they've been covered up by other types of overcompensating emotionally. And this is about a release of that emotional overcompensation to reveal a more authentic you that's more in alignment, that has integrity, that has self-authority, and that is empowered. And I'm going to leave your reading there, Aquarius. I hope you found that helpful. It's been an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Again, happy birthday for you all this month. Do come back to this later in the month. You'll find that there is things in here that you didn't catch this time that just kind of didn't make sense right now, but later on as events unfold over the month, it'll be much more relevant. Thank you for your subscription. It means a lot to have you here, and I look forward to reading for you again in the next month. Thank you so much.